I welcome you to Dark Space. My name is Charity Kesewa from Pong, and today we have the Botchway family. I mean, the grand Botchway family, comprising of a historical diaspora and a continental diaspora. And when I make mention of that, I am trying to talk about the two types of diaspora that we have. The historical diasporans are Mrs. Botchway's type, who were taken from Africa through the transatlantic slave trade to the Americas, and Mr. Botchway, who is a son of the soil but has lived his life in the US. And then this great union, the product of their great love, the story that they share, is who we have here as a chief. And he is a chief, and I mean a real chief, a young chief. That is such a great exception. And it's a very beautiful thing to have our diasporans come back and have a young as his type to be a chief. He is Chief Ni Oko Berima the second. How do you
Yes.
feel to come back to Ghana?
I feel very blessed to be able to come back to Ghana and to be able to meet my people, meet my family, my uncles, my aunts, my grandparents, just all of my family. And it really has been a blessing to be named as a chief because that's a huge honor in any culture, any tribe. And it's just been a very youthful and just a very amazing experience to come back.
It is a very great experience to come back. You know, there are a lot of stereotypes about Africa, but you were blessed to actually have an African mother, you understand, and an African father. But how was the transition like coming back home?
Coming back home at first, it was a little bit overwhelming because you see everything that you've heard and you meet all of these people, and it's a lot of things coming at you at the time at once. But since I've been here for about a week, I've been able to adjust and just really take it all in and just know that I'm blessed to be here. And it's really important for anyone, even if they're not directly African, which we're all directly African, but if their parent isn't African, if you know what I mean. Like
Born in
everyone
Yes,
Africa.
born in Africa, then they're
exactly.
saying, "Oh, I'm not African, I'm American." But it's really important for them to come and we're really to know where they came from. So whether that's like a DNA test or see what their country is, and to be able to come home and learn about their culture is very important.
Okay, so now I move to the judge, and a very great woman, a she achiever, a woman judge. You know, you are the mother of this little and great chief who is now a man, because we just had a ceremony of his manhood, rites of passage.
Yes.
How do you personally feel having a son? Have this type of feat. How do you feel, and especially on the motherland? How does it
Yes.
feel?
I'm very honored. I am African American, meaning I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, and but I know who I am and whose I am. I know that I am a child of God and a child of Africa. So I've always had a desire to reconnect with Africa.
Mm.
I'm grateful to God that He sent me a husband who was born in Africa
Mm.
and that we both love Africa and the people of the diaspora. I'm also very grateful to God that He gave us a son, Ismael Nipapu Botchway, and that this 16th year of his birth, he has already been named the chief at 16 years old. He'll be 17 on June 30th. Um, but to have a chief that young and to have an African American chief, it's such a great honor.
Mm.
Um, there are so many issues with our youth in the United States right now,
Yeah.
and Ismail um, will be a positive example for all of them, not only to be God fearing, respectful, hardworking, dedicated to his studies, but also loving himself and loving his homeland of Africa. If you don't know who you are and whose you are, your likelihood of being successful will be diminished.
That is true.
I think it's very important for all African Americans, um, all members of people from the diaspora,
Mm.
Brazil, North America, South America, Canada, we were enslaved and taken all over this world.
Mm,
This is our home.
that is true.
Her Excellency Ambassador Bennett has created this place for all the
That
diasporan,
is true.
not just for the Ghanaian bloodline like we are, but all of the diasporan. So I'm just very excited to be here. I'm very proud of my son,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm also aware that the thanks and praise goes to God for
Okay.
all of this
Okay.
happening
Now,
first.
okay. Thank you so much. Now we move to Mr. Bochi, the head of the family. You know, there is this whole movement of African unity and African coming together with our diaspora and all of that. You are a living testimony, of such a great achievement that can come through that unity. What do you have to say about that?
First of all, I want to thank the African diaspora for hosting us here. We thank for this day that we have a chance to talk about what we have experienced in America and at the same time in Ghana.
Yeah.
And for us, what we have seen here is a light that shows that African diaspora have opened their home for all Africans and for all African Americans. No matter what country you are, if you're an African American, you have a home in Ghana. Here and that, the African diaspora are open and they are opening with open hand. Like anytime African American, whether you are in Brazil, United States, Germany, France, any other continent you are in, the whole world, you are welcome here to know our history. Because we Africans, sometimes we don't really think about our history that much.
Yeah.
But since we travel, we're able to know that yes, all the slaves, all the people that have been taken from Africa, they are all over the world.
Yeah.
And we have to encourage them that they need to come home. There's a place right now for them to show that they are Africans and they have a home to stay.
They are Africans and they have a homes to stay.
Yes.
And that is to say that, on the 2nd of February of last year, that is 02/02/2022, the Diaspora African Forum launched the sixth region of Africa to give a recognition to the over 250 million of Afro people all over the world. And that is what our chief is holding. Now, Chief, I come back to you. It is such a great achievement that you've had. First of all, you were installed as a chief, and then today you have been transitioned, and in few days you'll be celebrating your birthday. How do you personally feel? What does this give you a foresight of the future? How does the future look for you?
For the future, I know that I want to continue to promote for people to come back to Africa and African diaspora. And I know in the future I do want to become a lawyer to be able to advocate for people and just to be able to help as many people as I can in my community and even communities here in Africa, communities all over the world. And being able to have such an honor so young, it just shows me that I have a lot more in my future and there's a lot more heights that I can reach.
That is true. That is true. Before we draw down the curtains, what would you like to say to your son?
As Excellency Ambassador Bennett stated early, to whom much is given, much is required. It is a great honor to have been installed as chief. It is a great responsibility to be a chief, to be a leader, as you know. Your father and I have trained you to strive for excellence, and you have achieved so much already. Being on the honor roll at school, receiving the Yale Youth Bassett Award, being a community volunteer, being a published artist and poet, winning competitions. I mean, we're just so proud of you. And this position as youth envoy for the African Diaspora Forum means that you can help youth all over the world achieve the same kind of success that you have, and then unite with them So together, you all can come back here together and work together and make a great difference here in Africa and abroad, because the children of the diaspora all over the world need help. And so you can unite the children, you all can work together and make a plan on how to enhance the plight of youth at risk all over the world. And I'm just so excited for your opportunity to do that and to bring other youth in.
Yeah.
That is great. Now, there's one thing that is so special about you that I want us to put to the world, because there's this whole misconception about things that make us Africans, our identity, our music, and everything that makes us African. You, as an African, chief, you play the drum, understand. And today we actually celebrate the life of your teacher. What is the inspiration? Why did you choose to do that?
So I started drumming at when I was about 5 years old at Better for Me Life, which is an organization in St. Louis, Missouri, which is kind of like with the African diaspora. They are teaching about African culture. They teach African dance, African drumming. They had us do classes to learn about our culture, learn about who we are. So that really inspired all of it. And then, as you said, my teacher who passed away, Baba Thadi Kennedy, I trained with him, and Baba Edward Brown and Mama Vivian, Elaine Watson Watt. They all have helped inspire that. And it's just really important to show my culture in a way that is can inspire people and can also catch the attention of others. So drumming is a way where people are like, wow, that's really cool, but then it also has a deep meaning and a deep
Deep
connection,
meaning and
which they
connection.
can learn through you kind of like pushing it towards them, but you don't want to force it on them because then they'll back
Mm.
off. But if you just show them the culture and like the drumming and the dancing, and then you can explain to them about all the significance, and that'll really help them understand.
Oh, that's great. That's great. In your opinion, how can we, build and develop Africa? And what do you think the diaspora can actually help Africa, build in the future?
I feel the diaspora can help Africa build because there's a lot of us African Americans in the United States that are very successful in our careers because there's so many opportunities there. So just being able to donate money here and even bring some opportunities here, whether it's like study abroad or jobs or just ways to bring the all the opportunities in America that the African Americans have been fortunate enough to have, or even the Africans that travel there have been fortunate, just being able to bring it back here and help us here in Africa so that we can be just like America or even better than America because we're the ones who built America.
That is great. Daddy, before we go, your last words.
So the last word I'm gonna try to say is for me, I'm a Ghanaian. I was born here in Ghana. I was raised in Ghana. But all my life, I've been working in the United States. And I encourage all Africans. My wife, she's African American, but I consider it as a Ghanaian and I
Yes.
consider her as an African. So there's no separation. Oh, I was born in Africa, so the person who was born in a different country is not an African. We're all Africans, and we have to understand that we have a home in any African country you want to go to. But the diaspora have created like a capital in Accra. So right now there is a big home here, and we all encourage Africans, African Americans all over the world to support them. They have a whole land, they have a whole gallery, they have a space. Whatever advice, whatever plans, everybody think they can give it to African diaspora because they are open to any African American, any African all over the world, and we encourage them to come sit down with them, see their needs, and see what we can do to help and make it like a castle for the diaspora and a castle for all African Americans that this is our home and we are all going to be proud of it and we want it to be developed in the way we all going to show that this is our White House. So we thank them for hosting us and we going to encourage everybody to join them and know their mission, support their mission. My son being the youth leader, I'm gonna encourage him, I'm gonna help him as I can to be able to help the youth that are coming because we know the youth are the future generation in whatever we do. And always we have to involve them because they are the futures, and we cannot do it without them. So we're gonna encourage as many youth we can, and we're gonna make sure everything we're doing, they're gonna understand it and let them know that there is a place for them
There's a
and
place for
they are welcome here.
Yeah,
Yes.
So
welcome.
thank you for hosting us and thank you for everything.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your time. This is the Botchway family that I had a great interview with. Indeed, Africa is home. And you see, you are an African not because you are born in Africa, you are an African because Africa is born in you. And as
Yes.
Osibisa said, he said, welcome home. You've been gone, for too long, and this is home. My name is Charity Kesewa Frimpong, host of Dark Speaks. This is how we draw down the curtains for this session of Dark Speaks. It's a bye now.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.